Hey, this PoeticWhiz. I'm going to talk about the Samsung Galaxy A series. As you all are aware, Samsung Galaxy A series have been out for almost a few months, and here's what I have to talk about the Samsung Galaxy A series. As you all are aware, Samsung A series are budget-friendly, mid-range smartphones that Samsung offers, and these smartphones almost feel like the Samsung's flagship phones. If you have to put in that retrospect in a way where you all be able to know. Personally, for me with the Samsung A series have always been a mixed bag, good, bad and ugly. But this time around the Samsung Galaxy A series 2025 edition feels somewhere between a downhill and somewhere I feel personally I don't have any emotional value or sentiment towards it. Like I'm not feeling that connection what I felt with previous Samsung A series model, regardless of how they felt, looked and how the pricing structure was from Samsung. So yes, we have Samsung Galaxy A series 2025 lineup. We have the A15, A25, A35 and A55. The most popular among them are the A35 and the A55. If you personally ask me if I had to recommend anyone a Samsung A series, I would always recommend the A35 or the A55 depending on your budget, but most probably I would recommend the A35 series. The reason why is because it almost feels like a mid-range flagship phone, yet with a decent specs and a phone where overall it feels much better for its value, price and design. Now coming to the design language, this time around Samsung has gone a bit haywire or a different approach to its design language than its previous models or previous versions of the Samsung A series or the S series or even the M series, which currently M series is only available in India. But apart from that, Samsung has always kept its design consistency the same across the series, Samsung series, if you ask me. But this time around, they have tried something new with the Samsung A series, and I'm personally not a fan of the new design. I'm not too sure why. Maybe I don't resonate to that design much, or I don't feel like that's a design I personally would see myself looking at, like anytime I use the phone or something like that. For me, always a phone design has always appealed to me in various factors. When you look at it, you feel okay, this phone is meant for me, or there's a personal connection, the personal bond or something like that. But this phone does not give you that feeling with its design language and all that. The second reason for me personally with the design is it is a glass back. I have no complaints with the glass back or anything like that. The only thing is the glass back is a bit fragile and a bit something. Once you drop the phone, the full back is cracked and the replacement almost every penny you have paid for the phone. But yes, even if I keep the glass back aside, the design language does not resonate with me. It does not feel like I'm someone who always likes to give a positive approach regardless of the design language, regardless of anything in life, because perspective change, ideas change, things innovate, we all see things differently. But with me, with this design language, the way Samsung approached it, I do not feel any positive with the design. As for the features, the chipset, everything feels great. It almost feels like the flagship series X series, but apart from that, everything feels like okay, like a decent enough phone, but at a higher price tag if you ask me. Samsung always nailed in few aspects of its thing. Let it be the design, the functionality, let it be its operating system. Yes, I'm someone who has always appreciated Samsung with its software update. Lately they have not been doing it the best, especially not with the upcoming One UI 7. But if Samsung roadmap to the updating the Samsung One UI 7 goes as promised, then I feel One UI 7 would be a hallmark or a benchmark for not just for Samsung but other OEMs as well, other smartphone manufacturers who have different OS, let it be Color OS, Fusion OS or iOS or any other for that matter. because Samsung has always tried to innovate itself from the inception. I'm telling this from now, but I'm always told this in other videos of mine why I love Samsung as a company as a whole. If there was no Apple or if there was no any phone or whatever, Samsung is still one of those companies since the inception had been remarkable. You look at the Samsung Galaxy A15, it was way ahead of its time. Many people are not aware or still don't remember that Samsung Galaxy the S2, Samsung Galaxy S2. It had fingerprint, it had everything, it had Face ID, everything. Okay, it might have not had fingerprint, but it had touch Face ID or whatever. But it was a way ahead of its time for its design language, for its build. Yes, it might have had a plastic build, but apart from that, it was always innovating, it was progressing, Samsung did have its fair share of downhill or a breakthrough, a meltdowning point with the Note series, Note 7 to be very specific. But apart from that, Samsung has always been top notch. It has always considered the users first and then its way of approaching things. And step by step, Samsung is trying to elevate that, let it be manufacturing dozens of phones a year or with software operation. And the software operation now, especially with the One UI 7, you can see that improvement. You can see a drastic difference from TouchWiz, TouchWiz, if I'm not mistaken, TouchWiz to the inception of One UI and now the stage how One UI was initially started to how now it is with One UI 7. I cannot wait for One UI 7 personally, but yes, the key features what I've seen with One UI 7, what I personally love is the now bar. I wish if that is available on all the smartphones, on all Samsung smartphones, would be great. The animation feels a lot more smoother, a lot more refined. The customization is great. Samsung has always been creative with it, customization, and lately as a Samsung user who has been using Samsung phone and iOS, like if you ask me even today now, if I had to recommend anyone a smartphone apart from iOS, my first preference would be a Samsung phone, and then it would be either Xiaomi or this thing. Previously it was OnePlus, but now I've stopped recommending OnePlus to anybody. Reason being, they have a very bad track record since the time they have moved to ColorOS or something, whatever the newer version is. Once they have moved to that, everything has come downhill. Other thing is that if you look at the Samsung chipset, it's using the MediaTek Helios G99 4G and Dimensity 6500 GB in the most basic variant, that the A15 very down variant. But as for the other variants, it's using the Samsung in-house Exynos variant. And if you ask me personally, MediaTek variant is, like people say, like MediaTek might be a very low budget chip, but if you look at that performance towards, like if you compare that with an Exynos chip, it outperforms, if you ask me from my perspective or from the way I see it. See here, this is how I put the chipset with Samsung chipsets basically in general. Let be Exynos, let be Dimensity, let be MediaTek or whatever chipset or Snapdragon for that matter. Here, chipset might play a vital role, but at the same time it does not determine the performance, the battery life. It almost depends how each user represent or how each user uses their phone on a daily basis. Some might be a heavy user, some might be a medium user, some might hardly use their phones on a day-to-day basis or often, and that's where this chipset does not matter much compared to the camera quality or the way the camera feels, the body, coming to the sizes. Yes, as for the sizes, we might almost have the same sizes, but if you look at the display, Samsung has never degraded or never given bad display. In fact, it has always been number one in display sense across all its series. So yes, we can see One UI 7 on Samsung A series with 4 years of OS update and 5 years of security update. And if you ask me, this is great, especially from Samsung. We know iOS has been doing this for a lot. Google trying to catch up with what Samsung and iOS has to offer, but I feel Google is a long way to go. My overall thoughts with this A series is that Buy only if you feel it's the necessity, otherwise stick to whatever Samsung phone you have or whatever secondary phone or whatever phone you currently have, because the price factor is something where I feel is not like, what do you say, the price, what you're getting, everything does not feel right. It's like it almost feels you're spending a lot on a phone than what you're been offering. My suggestion would be get the previous A series models. They are better in many ways. Some might even have an headphone jack if you're into that. Some might have some, you might get some for at a very reasonable price, and still you can have the latest software updates and everything. But yes, my suggestion would be not to buy any A series phone for the 2025 edition now. Rather buy it a year later or buy it after six months or down, like somewhere around September or December, like that. Around that time the prices might go down, or you might get a better deal of some other Samsung phone like Samsung F series, FE series, or Samsung mid-range phone, or like the S series or whatever, the flagship series you might get. At the current stage, if you ask me, the two best Samsung phones you can buy is the Samsung S series and Samsung FE series. These two reasons why they marginally might feel both similar, but at the same time they have a lot of features. Let it be the AI feature, let it be the camera enhancement, let it be the longevity side of things, let it be the OS software updates. We are into that. It all has to offer with the Samsung S series and the Samsung FE series. Do let me know what your take on the Samsung A series. And personally, I just wanted to make this video because I personally did not have any videos to make. Like, I did not have any video ideas to make. Not that I did not have videos to make. I just did not have what ideas to make, what videos to make. And since I love Samsung, I thought let me make this video, share it with you all, and give my thoughts, my opinion as to what I feel about the Samsung A series. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the design. That's my main gripe, my nitpick. Apart from everything feels fine. There's one thing that I would say as a user, as an end user. Let's talk about fingerprint for that matters. Fingerprint. When I say fingerprint, there are two types. One is physical, like a button sort, like we had with the iPhone 5, that sort of, and one we have with the current like Samsung S20 Ultra series. The difference between these two is what the physical one feels much more user friendly, or much more you can sense the fingerprint, whereas with the ultrasonic or whatever they call the fingerprint, I don't like that approach. It almost feels like why we are having the fingerprint in the first place. If it was a physical one, it would have been much better, like we had with the iPhone 5s series and all those stuff, or even the iPhone 6s for that matter. That sort of fingerprint this thing scanner would have been much better. And the price for me, I feel it's not worth 30k or 40k for that matter, Indian rupees, not worth it. If you get a 30k, around 30 to 40k, Samsung S series or F series would be a much better buy, in my opinion, if you ask me. Yeah, the chipset might be a bit old or whatever, but see, if you can get a Snapdragon chipset, well, why not? You can go ahead. Yes, overall, not the best phone to buy. I would personally skip this phone and get a mid-range phone like the Samsung M series. Yes, if you're someone who is in India right now and looking for a Samsung phone, I would personally recommend to get the Samsung M35 series. Great phone. It packs all the basic features you need, and battery backup is great. Personally, I've been using that, and yes, for the price and everything, it's great. Why spend more when you can get less and get a good Samsung phone? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yes. So this was my video on the Samsung Galaxy S25 series, and do like, comment and subscribe to the video. Till then, this is your PoeticWhiz. Do live your dreams.